Good afternoon, and thank you for joining today's event, Building Your Distribution Strategy in the Amazon Age. My name is Steve, and I'll be your host today. As we get started, I'll just review how you can participate in today's event. You should see a control panel for GoToWebinar on your screen. As we present today, if you have questions, please just type those questions into your questions panel and hit send. Then at the end of the webinar today, we'll answer any questions that you do submit. We've got a great agenda planned for you today, and I'm very happy to be joined by a couple of gentlemen. Steve Mochin, who's a Senior Solutions Consultant from Terillium. Moch, as we call him, since I'm another Steve M, we'll call him Moch for today to eliminate confusion. Moch is going to focus on a live demonstration of NetSuite's modern ERP software. So we'll get to see back office solutions that will support superior customer service and customer experience. And then very happy that Dathan Goff from RF-SMART is joining us today. Dathan will be focusing his presentation on barcoding and mobility to automate your warehouse, to modernize your inventory management, and really provide the foundation of what distributors need in this Amazon age. If you haven't heard of Terillium, I'll just quickly introduce us. We are an ERP consulting firm. We've been implementing ERP systems for about 20 years for our customers. Those are projects that can be somewhat risky and a little undefined for some of our customers. We're very proud of the fact that we've won multiple awards for our ERP implementations and really focus on providing the best customer references of any of our competitors. From a size perspective, we have about 170 full-time consultants all across the United States. We've implemented in multiple different industries for over 700 customers, 700 ERP implementations, different industries. But today, of course, we're focusing on the distribution industry. What we'll cover today is what we call the Amazon Challenge and what that means. We'll define that, and then we'll talk about 3 takeaways that you can use for your own strategy in 2019. And then we'll walk through some innovative technology. As I mentioned, Moch will be showing NetSuite ERP. Dathan will focus on mobility and barcoding, and we'll also cover a little bit of what we call Suite Commerce, and I'll introduce you to what that means. So let's start off here by talking about the Amazon Challenge. So what is this and why does it matter? This probably isn't the most surprising stat you've ever seen, but about half of all online sales in the last year were attributed to Amazon. What is new and what you might not have heard of is called Amazon Business. This is the retail giant's move into the B2B space. So, some things you need to know about this. This is a business-to-business platform for distributors and manufacturers. It hit $1 billion in sales in its first year, and it's expected to multiply by 10 in its second year over the last year. It kind of feels like Amazon Prime, but for businesses. The subscription also includes tools, sales and marketing and other technical support, and it integrates with other stuff. So, what would this mean to your strategy? Well, the main point is the change in expectations for your B2B customers. They probably don't expect you to be an Amazon, but they probably do expect you to deliver great modern customer experiences. So whether your business falls under the category of one who can't beat Amazon, and really who can, or one that doesn't want to join them, it's still important to understand the effects of this giant moving into our industry. And really this year, distribution strategies need to include leveraging technology to deliver better products, services, and solutions. We really kind of separate that into 3 areas: finance, inventory and warehouse management, and then customer experience. So we say it's time to implement technology fit for this Amazon age, offer an exceptional customer experience from start to finish, and finally put in place best practices in different areas that we'll focus on today: inventory, warehouse, and finance. And I think you'll see some best practices and best technology in all of those areas today. So first up, we'll talk about NetSuite as an ERP platform, kind of the back office system that can be the tool to help you conduct business this way. So a little introduction on NetSuite, multiple different metrics on your screen there. The one I'll focus on is that NetSuite is the largest cloud ERP system in the world by number of customers who run it. There are 40,000 customers across the world that use NetSuite. I think that number tells a lot of stories. One, NetSuite has the biggest scale in terms of innovation, in terms of customers proving out that the technology works. The other interesting thing about those 40,000, they're all on the same version of NetSuite. Since it's a cloud-based system, it was born in the cloud, they engineered it to be customizable. There's a platform where you can build all the customizations you want, but those customizations upgrade, and every single customer is always on the same version of NetSuite. So it is upgrade proof, if you will. NetSuite is also the fastest growing ERP system out there. And NetSuite really, to us, equals growth. Most people think that economic growth is back, and sometimes it goes back and forth a little bit. But it's been over 10 years since the Great Recession of 2018. That took a lot of people by surprise, and some companies didn't survive. But we know that the comeback to growth hasn't really been equal for every company. There have been winners and losers. The S&P has grown 6%, while the emerging index of companies has grown 8%. So that growth is distributed a little unequally among all the different companies. Another interesting stat, 52% of Fortune 500 firms since 2000 are now gone. And if you think back to 2000, it's a very different world. Back then, BlackBerry had a 45% market share versus Apple's 25%. So very different today. Growth didn't hit every company the same way. So what we have to say about that, growth isn't guaranteed. You have to scale in order to grow. As you look at the percentage of businesses entering and exiting the economy, it's been harder than ever to scale a business. You see more companies exiting the market and fewer entering. And that's because growth isn't easy. And remember the chart I just showed you, what we've seen from our customers is that they've had an unfair share of growth and have been able to grow faster than the rest of the market, faster than that S&P, faster than the emerging index. NetSuite customers double that and grow at a clip of 17%. And when you look at the NetSuite e-commerce platform, which I'll show you here next, we've seen even more growth than that, 24%. So let's take a look at what Suite Commerce is. I'll introduce that concept to you in about 2 minutes here, and then after the 2 minutes is up, we'll come back and Steve will start to take a live look at NetSuite ERP.
We live in a multi-channel world. Customers are shopping on everything from smartphones and tablets through to PCs and social media. They're online, in-store, and everywhere in between. Until now, merchants have often built separate solutions for each channel. While this worked at first, the world's moved on. Today's customers make no distinction between channels. They just want to buy from anywhere they like and receive a consistent, personalized experience. And that's a real problem. Most businesses simply can't deliver this omni-channel experience. They can't see real-time inventory across all their channels for a buy anywhere, get anywhere exchange enable more personalized experiences. Ultimately, this leads to brand discontent, customer frustration, and business inefficiency. Fortunately, the answer is simple. Suite Commerce from NetSuite. Suite Commerce unifies point-of-sale and e-commerce with your core operational systems, inventory and order management, CRM, merchandising, marketing, and financials. It means you can have one inventory system, one order management system, and, best of all, a single view of the customer. The result? With Suite Commerce, you can deliver the shopping experience your customers want, sell more products, and fulfill orders efficiently and accurately. But don't just take our word for it. Here's how our customers tell us Suite Commerce has revolutionized their businesses. NetSuite helped us become an efficient company that's responsive to our customers and to their tastes. NetSuite made the technical aspects of our implementation ridiculously easy. And with NetSuite, we're running a lot more proficiently. We can see our inventory, see what's selling and what's not, and we can communicate much better with customers. Thanks, guys. Isn't it time you discovered a better commerce solution? Suite Commerce, how today's commerce runs. A single, unified platform. A great shopping experience from anywhere, on anything. An omni-channel customer view. Learn more at suitecommerce.com.
Okay, so that was an introduction to Suite Commerce. Now for sort of the rest of the NetSuite solution, I'd like to introduce Steve Mochin. Steve, as I said, is a senior solution consultant with Terillium. Steve is going to join us today and show us a live demonstration of the NetSuite software. So Steve, we're very happy to welcome you to the webinar today. Thanks for agreeing to show us NetSuite.
Thanks, Steve. Well, welcome everyone. Going to give you a quick tutorial of navigation in NetSuite. Again, my name is Steve Mochin. I've got over 20 years of experience in the ERP world. Half those years have been spent working in the industry for companies. So not only have I been a consultant, but I've implemented it and used and managed the software on a daily basis. What you're looking at here is NetSuite. I've logged on to a web-based browser. Can get to NetSuite anywhere that you've got internet access. Reminder again that NetSuite is the largest cloud ERP and with over 40,000 customers, and it's a complete cloud solution. This that you're seeing here is a role-based logon or home page. You can look at it as a dashboard. It's where you're going to spend the majority of your time in your workday. These role-based logins can be created for you from NetSuite with all of the built-in what are called portlets. Each of these little boxes or windows are called portlets that can be ready for you day one. It really makes your day more efficient and improves your ability to be productive. I am logged on, if you look in the upper right-hand corner, as the CEO. So I'm going to see a lot of high-level things, finances and high-level graphs and charts across the whole company. For example, the first thing you see here front and center is key performance indicators, receivables, inventory, expenses, income. This is a portlet that's, again, generated within NetSuite. There is no BI solution that's underlying all this and putting together all the data for you. This is very difficult to generally get in other ERPs, and yet NetSuite's able to put it together in one place. If you have a company with a lot of locations or divisions, the subsidiary navigator that you see here is going to be important to you. This basically controls all of the graphs and charts that you see on your home page. Right now, I'm looking at everything. I've got a solution that looks at the entire company, but I can drill down. If I want to go look at just my US1 component, notice by clicking on that, it updates all of the portlets, so all the graphs and charts that you see will update to just show you data from that one location or subsidiary. Really beneficial if you want to be able to take a quick snapshot look into any one of your divisions or locations to see how they're doing. You can make these your own, meaning you can have the ability to personalize not only your layout, but what goes onto the screens, and you have preferences that are belonging to your user. Note that you would have access to these roles based on your user and the role in the business, and that also ties you down to security. So that's where security lies within NetSuite. Is this is only going to give you access to what you are supposed to be able to see and do. For example, one of my preferences might be under alerts. This is great to get things outside of NetSuite. So if you want to be able to receive an alert email, for example, at certain times of the day based on certain parameters that you come up with, whether or not you want to have alerts based on an AP minimum purchase, for example. You see, I've just got a whole long list of these. Again, you have the ability to get these out of the box with NetSuite. While here, I also wanted to show you that you do have built-in help. So if I hover over a link or a label in any of these fields within NetSuite, it's not only in your preferences. I can click on that and it brings up field help. The nice thing about the field help, it's actually helpful. I've been on other ERPs where all it does is simply restate what the label says. That's not the case in NetSuite. All right, in addition to the help there, you do have a Help Center button. This help button goes into a search where you can look at all kinds of documentation around NetSuite, and it's really beneficial. It's something I still use today if I want to go in and learn more about a function or a topic within NetSuite. The efficiencies of NetSuite, again, allow you to have the system help you figure out what am I supposed to be doing today. My favorite among that is the reminders portlet. In the upper left-hand corner here, you see I have reminders that tell me things that I'm interested in keeping track of. For in this case, I want to see the tasks I have to complete as part of a CRM. If I click into the link here, it goes into the actual tasks, the application that shows the tasks that I have to be working on. I can always go back to my home page again. The ability to jump around quickly, get to where you need without having to hit too many buttons is, again, part of the efficiencies. To set up or modify any of these portlets, it's extremely simple. You really need very little training at all. I'm going to go in and add a new reminder. I'm going to say invoice is overdue. Save it, and there it is. As quick as that. There's no involvement from IT. You don't have any bottlenecks waiting for anything. There's nothing to deploy or build and have IT be the owner of. Really, really quick to handle that. If I want to add a portlet, again, talking about personalization. Lots of pre-builts. I want to add another KPI meter. So here's a KPI meter that I have for receivables. Each of these portlets, though, kind of have hidden additional options. So maybe instead of receivables, I want expenses. And a nice little gauge here that shows me how I'm doing with expenses. Maybe I want reminders back on top. It looks like drag and drop is capable. It absolutely is. And again, there's nothing I need to save here. It's immediately permanent. Until, of course, I might want to go in and do something else to maybe remove one of these. Again, it's as simple as that. Note that while we're here, you can easily download an image, download this graph or charts into a PDF, and so on, or just simply print it. So it's easy to take on the go with you. I'm going to go ahead and remove that just to show you again how easy that is. Other things that they offer to give you quick access, there's what's called a new bar. Again, you can personalize this, but this allows me to go into an ad mode in any of these applications that I want. So if I want to add a new customer or add a new contact, I don't have to go find that application and go into ad mode. I just go quickly from my new bar up at the top. Let's take a look again at some of these graphs and see again that pretty much everything that you see in NetSuite is interactive. There are links and drill downs just about everywhere that you go. So this graph here, well, I'm showing items, quantity sold last year. Again, lots of options that I can change in an instant. It's interactive here. If I want to remove one of these to show the other options better, I can do that. Again, click on anything that you think might have a link. And hang on a second. It should go into a report that shows you the options behind that. For example, let me then go into the financials. I'll show you a link here. Anything, again, that has a link will take you to essentially what becomes a report. Now, this report, again, even has further drill down. So if I wanted to go directly into the customer record or look at the detail report of the sales behind here, you can continue to do drill down after drill down all the way into the detail and then to the actual transaction itself that will launch the application for that transaction. These reports, again, to think of a report that you get out on paper, it's not the same anymore. These reports that you see are real time, and yes, you can print them. Yes, you have the ability to launch Excel and PDF and send them to Word or print them, like I said, or email them directly from NetSuite. But you have options that you can change the date, change your different subsidiary that they're running over, and you have a search tool from within this. So to customize and have reports easily, quickly generated over your parameters is very simple. I'm going to scroll down just to show you. You're kind of at your discretion on how much you want on your home page or your role-based dashboard. There are a lot more things you can do, and again, all of them come with that same exact ability to drill down and have interaction and reports behind the scenes so you can quickly get to the data that builds or is making up the graph or chart. I'm going to go in now and show you really one of my favorite things with NetSuite. Well, first I'll show you, you've got the ability to have recent records. If you go to lunch, go to a meeting, even get a phone call that forces you to leave your desk or to get away from the system for a few minutes where you might want to log off, recent records will get you right back to where you were so you can pick back up quickly. I was obviously working on an invoice recently. And before that, I was doing a payment. And it shows me the number and invoice, and I can, again, jump right back into it or even jump into edit mode with that. You do have favorites. You generally don't need any menu structures because everything that you need access to or application-wise is right here on your dashboard, but there are favorites, and I've got a lot of them. You certainly probably would not have that many, but I'm going to jump into the customers list, the ability to go in and look at what customers are there and then actually work with the data. Now what we've got here is a list of customers. Certainly you can go in and filter this if you'd like. You can go in and drill to specific customers if you'd like to do that also. So I have, this is again something you can personalize. I just have a filter of sales rep, customer stage, and style. But within that you have the ability to add more filters. So we've got here a list. Most applications, in fact, I've never seen another ERP system that does what NetSuite is going to allow me to do here in just a minute. Pretty much every ERP I've seen, if I wanted to change Alex Wolf's customers or a couple of customers from, let's see, one sales rep to another, I have to go in and edit each individual of the customers. So if I have to want to change 3 customers from a different sales rep to Steve Golden, I'd have to go into 3 separate edit entries into each of the customers and go find the sales rep field and change it. Within NetSuite, there is an edit inline option. So I'm going to turn that on. When I do that, most columns will have the ability to edit. You'll see a little pencil in the header. So that says I can edit that field. So if I want to go here into my Alex Wolf, and I can go down to Steve Golden, and by the way, I'm going to change that one, and I'm going to change this one, and I'll change this one too. Tab out, all 4 of those records updated one time. I hope you understand, again, we talk about efficiencies. This is huge. If I wanted to change a sales rep and I could filter for one sales rep who might have left the company, it makes it very easy to change over to a new sales rep for all those records. Yes, there is a mass change job that you can also run to do that, but I kind of, when I'm changing important data, a lot of times I'd rather see it right there in front of me instead of running something that does a mass changes, that I have to look at a report or something after. This is really, really fantastic. Again, this is not just with the customer list. It can be with any of these inquiry-looking type of applications. And while we're here, integration with Excel, I don't think it could be easier. So you've got a CSV, export, Excel, PDF, print, if I want to print the list. So how hard is it to export to Excel? Well, I'm going to take a one-click of the actual Excel icon, and I'm going to get my list of customers. Now, because the list is a little bit larger, it's going to take just a second, but it'll bring up all of the columns that I had listed and all of the customers, including the headers. I don't think it can be easier. So I hope, again, this is one of my favorite things to highlight about the user interface in NetSuite. You want to talk about something that is, again, a great experience. This really is one of a kind with the inline editing. Kind of the last thing I want to show you here is a search. So I've gotten this, with 20 plus years of experience, ERP systems did not have good search tools back in the day. NetSuite has a great one. There's a search bar that's at the top of every dashboard or homepage that you have. I can just search for Bob, and as I start typing, it'll start showing me all the things with Bob. If I want to see just the customers that have Bob in the title, I can do a little prefix. And of course, this is with any of the different tables within NetSuite. You can search the data. It doesn't have to be a name. It could be, if I wanted to take a look at an invoice number or an opportunity number, work orders, you see it searches the entire NetSuite database. And then, of course, I have the option of drilling down and going directly into my edit of that particular record. The search is something that users have demanded for years, and now they've got a great one with NetSuite. But at that point, this is just a really quick overview of navigation in NetSuite. If you're interested in seeing more, please let us know. But at this point, I think we're ready to turn it over to see the RF-SMART presentation.
Yeah, thank you, Steve, or Moach as we call him. I appreciate that. So we talked about the imperatives of having modern financials, order management that's connected. Those are a couple of the things that NetSuite really gives you. I think that Moach did a nice job of showing us a modern interface, getting the information you need, when you need it, where you need it on any device with NetSuite. So now let's talk about the other thing we brought up as we introduced this webinar, and that is real-time inventory, and not only real-time, but really an efficient, integrated mobile warehouse, and that's the experience that RF-SMART brings to us. So I'm really happy to have Dathan next up to present that solution. Dathan, welcome.
All right, thanks, Steve. So I'm going to start, really what my portion is, we're going to build the case for mobile data collection. But as I jump into it, I'll give an abbreviated introduction to RF-SMART and myself. So I'll start with myself. Similar to the previous Steve, I've got about 10 plus years in ERP experience, whether it be manufacturing, distribution, and over 6+ of that has been with the mobile data collection solution of RF-SMARTs. So as a company, we were founded in 1982 and really started consulting for ERPs, whether it be an implementation or existing customers, the consulting side of that. And then along the way, mobile data collection became a big part of our business. And you can see down below, currently we have over 1,200 global customers. And with those customers, over 1,800 warehouse implementations. Now, from an RF-SMART perspective, for NetSuite, we have over 600 customers currently. On the right side, you can see we're a native suite app to NetSuite. And down at the bottom, the little logo there for the award of Partner of the Year in 2014, kind of a fun fact for that, you're only eligible to win that once, and we won that our first full year in the space. So that's quite an accomplishment for us. So as we go through, again, we're building that case. So why do you need mobile data collection? On this, you can read this. I won't read all of them aloud, but on the left, you do see the things that increase when you use mobile data collection. And on the right-hand side, some of the things that'll go down for you. So let's take a look and get a little bit more granular with this. And really, everything starts with the receiving side. If you think of the flow of inventory, that's where I'm going to start here. So without mobile data collection, you're generally doing things with a manual process. So that usually means when inventory comes in the door, there's a packing slip associated with it. Someone goes through and checks off the inventory as it's received. If there's a discrepancy, they have to identify that, mark that on that packing slip. And that might even follow through to a put away aspect of it. So once they put the inventory away, they write down the bin or location that they stored that inventory. Well, our assumption is that's generally about 5 touch points. A lot of things can go wrong, whether it be legibility of handwriting, losing the paperwork. Nothing's real time either. So when you automate that with mobile data collection, you do get the real time aspect of inventory visibility. So as the purchase order is received, you can do that from the device. When you go to put it away, that can be done from the device. And everything's in real time. So that visibility can help improve your business. You'll know exactly what's there to sell at any point in time. And that's valuable, especially when we start talking about e-commerce. So from receiving over to the order picking side, let's think about that from a manual perspective as well. You're going to print the pick tickets. Someone's going to walk around. It might actually tell them where to go on that pick ticket, but when they get there, if the inventory is not there, that causes a headache. How do I know where to find this? What additional bins or locations might it be in? So you might short ship, things along those lines that might cause your company to lose out on profits. So once all of that's done, it's taken back, and then you're going to update those orders to show that it's been picked and shipped and all of that fun stuff. Now, with the mobile data collection, well, first thing we're going to do is we're going to make that pick list mobile for you. So as a user logs into an order, they're going to see exactly where they need to go to pick those items. And we're going to do that hopefully in a way that gives you an efficient pick path through the facility. So that's the first big benefit to it. The next thing is if you get to a location, and the item's not there, you can see on the mobile device the other places that item exists in inventory, so you can go to the next place and try to grab that. And then the last thing is everything you do is validated on a device. So from the receiving side, making sure we're receiving the items that we're supposed to be receiving, to the picking side, where we're making sure that we're picking exactly what's supposed to be picked. Those are the types of things that are going to be valuable to perform those transactions from the mobile device. Okay, so what we've done, put together some numbers for us here. So let's just think of a company that sends out 500 orders per day. Well, if we look at that, a 1% error essentially equals 5 orders a day. And if you look at the number 1,300 of inaccurate shipments a year. So we put some numbers to that. And if the average cost is $50 for that return and the processing of all of that, that's going to turn into $65,000 of annual loss for only 1% of those inventory errors. So let's think if we did implement mobile data collection and we reduced that by 50% and went down to a 0.5 percentage. That's $32,000 that can be added to the bottom line to grow. So back to that initial first screen that we talked about with those arrows going up, that really is kind of the high level, and this can show you the numbers that back that those claims up. So with RF-SMART for NetSuite, there's a couple of things that we're going to provide for you, and you can read these as I go through it. But the important thing is that when you perform transactions and log into the device and do all of that, we're capturing who's the person logged in, what function are they performing, what time, what's the date and time that this transaction is actually performed, and then we even collect the duration of time that it takes to perform that transaction. So overall, you're able to grow, and Steve mentioned the reporting that NetSuite has. Those reports, you can see this type of information in that report to build productivity and efficiency type reports to measure your people in your facility. So something that's really popular these days is gamification within the warehouse. Having this type of metrics is what allows for gamification, so you can reward your employees for doing a great job, being faster, and really growing your business for you. So next, let's think about some of the hardware aspects of it. So you can see some of the devices on the left, whether it be that rugged device, that brick on a stick you see on the top left, or on the top right. Maybe it's an iPhone with a sled that it goes into so that you can scan. We're pretty agnostic when it comes to these devices. Even if you want to get more advanced, like the bottom left with the voice headset. So if you wanted to do voice picking, those are types of things that we can integrate into our software to build efficiencies and speed up the processes. And then on the bottom right, you can see the printer. So that's an integral part of mobile data collection, is having that ability to print labels, have something to scan, so you are validating along the way and making sure that your integrity is intact. Those are all things that RF-SMART works with and provides for our customers as a service as well. So last, from a slide perspective, before we actually jump into a quick demonstration of our product, here's some other things that are really valuable from an RF-SMART for NetSuite perspective. First things first, we're a native suite app. So we're built inside of NetSuite. And that drives us to the second bullet point. There's no additional servers that you have to manage. There's no code on the devices. So when you access RF-SMART, you're simply accessing it through a web client, like Google Chrome or Safari or Mozilla, something along those lines. And then we've talked about the real-time updates and the value of that. But one other thing, and we won't get to it today, but it's a big part of inventory accuracy, is the counting procedures. So one of the things that we've added to NetSuite is the capability to count in real time. What that means, you don't have to freeze your inventory. You can continue to pick for sales orders, receive inventory, and move it around, all at the same time while you're counting. That tends to be a major benefit for our customers who have traditionally came in on the weekends or shut down operations for a day to do a physical inventory. They're no longer having to do that. And when you're not having to shut down, that's another opportunity for growth. So let's bounce out. I'm going to pop off of this and let me open up NetSuite here. So you'll see NetSuite on the left and RF-SMART on the right. One of the big things I wanted to hit on first, so that reporting capability, anything that we do is you can report against it as well. But something as simple as a little graph such as this one, transaction counts by users. You can see this. I can see who the RF-SMART user was logged in, Danny Bushman. He's done 38 transactions on January 24th. Having that information at your fingertips is nice because that's going to be able to gauge the productivity you've had in your facility. So let's jump into some transactions. I want to start with that receiving process. So we talked a little bit about how it looked manually. Well, from a mobile perspective, let's take a look at how it will be from there. So let me switch over my location here. First things first, when that inventory comes in and that packing slip is there, most of the time it's going to have your purchase order number on it. If that's the case, you could type that. I can just click in that text box and type away. If it's barcoded, I could scan it. Another option we give you is the capability to load purchase orders. So you can see when I load this, it's going to give me the ability to look at the purchase order number or the vendor, and I can resort these to find and group those vendors together for ease of access. In my case, I'm going to scan a barcode here. So I've got a purchase order. And if we look out here inside of NetSuite, you'll see this is the purchase order we're going to look at. These are the items on it, the quantities. So if I look here, we see those items and quantities. You can even see some notifications. So with this one, I put the little truck. That just signifies that I have inventory, but I don't have enough inventory in stock to fulfill all of the outbound orders that I have. So that's a cue for the user receiving. Maybe I need to do something with this. Set this aside because Joe needs to come pick it pretty quick. Things like that are the benefits that we add. So if we take a look here, all right, we're back. Sorry about that. When we go to receive, notice the prompt up top. It's asking me for the item. So if things are barcoded coming in, just scan it. Whether it's your item number, a vendor's item number, we can cross-reference those for you. But the other nice thing is if things are coming in not barcoded, it's not the end of the world. I can use my finger in the touchscreen capabilities of these devices to tell it which order I want to receive. So notice as I come in, the description of the item and so forth, the quantity that's on the purchase order, even that back ordered quantity. So I need 2 to fulfill my orders that are out there. We give you that information. We can bring in thumbnail images that are stored inside of NetSuite, and we give you the options below, such as printing labels for these items coming in. If you need a product label, you can print that. You can update that UPC or that vendor's item number to cross-reference. I'll go ahead and receive a couple of these. So I'll receive 15. And as I pass through, notice it comes back and there's visual cues here. So it turned yellow, it moved to the bottom. Well, if I receive the next one, the koozie here, or the keychain, and just do this complete button, which says I'm going to receive all 15, it turns green. And again, it's resorted. So we're keeping the point of reference at the top of the screen so that the user has easy access to the action items that need to be done. But when you're done, all you have to do is press submit. What submit's going to do is it's going to send that information and create that transaction inside of NetSuite instantly. So the user will get a success message on the device. And now when I receive or refresh this form, you'll see that status instantly changes because it's instantly reflected in the ERP. From there, notice the quantities. It shows me, I get that information to produce a vendor scorecard or to see the discrepancies between what was ordered and what was received as well. Okay, so one thing I didn't hit on, but it's apparent now, when I received that, it received all into a single bin. So think of it almost as a 2-part receipt. We staged it, we brought it in the door, it's sitting there, and now it comes time to do that put away process. We've got a transaction built specifically for it. It's just to put the inventory away. So that bin that it received everything into, let me switch over to the right location here. All right, so when I tell it that, I can load the items and it'll tell me exactly what's there that I have access to put away. So as I tell it that to load those items, it's going to show me those items here on the screen. So it almost gives me the capability to do a system and a physical validation. But those 15 and 15 that we received are here. I can begin by just scanning those items. So as I scan one of these items, it then is going to tell me the quantity that I have available there and ask me for the quantity I want to put away. And you can see down below, these are some bins that are associated to it. So we're not directing you and forcing you to put it anywhere, but we are giving you information and the tools to suggest where you might want to put it, including this asterisk designating that that's the preferred bin for that item. So maybe that's my pick face bin. We can show the capacity, the available space in that bin for that particular item. It's based on a min and max quantities that you set up for that bin reference. But as I tell it the quantity I want to put away, the next screen is just tell me where you're putting it. We'll go to that bin, we'll scan that bin, and as we scan the bin, it performs the put away process for us. So through the receiving process on paper, manual, having to record a lot of things. From the mobile perspective, you can do this and track it all in real time and have all that information at your fingertips. And last, I've got time for one more. We'll look at the outbound side here. So if I wanted to pick a sales order, I can come into this, and we have multiple ways of picking orders on the outbound side to fit all of the different needs that might be by vertical or whatever it may be. But this is a more common one. So it's based on the sales orders. I can show a list that would give me all of the available sales orders to pick. So you could potentially do this from a paperless perspective. If you did want that paper trail and have a pick ticket to travel with those items, that's great. You can print it, scan that sales order. That's what I've done here. And it's going to drive me through the facility to pick now. So as this loads those items, we see that it presents it to me in a way that's an alphanumeric sort based on that bin. So that's driving that efficiency. And all I've got to do is tell it where I'm going and what I'm doing. So it's asking for the item. I could get to that item and scan that item. I can select that and then just validate the bin as well. So that's what I'll do here. I'll scan the bin, tell it the quantity that I've picked, hit next, and we'll see that same sorting, resorting, and the color coding as well. One other thing I want to hit on here is that if I come here and I go to that bin and the item doesn't exist there, this alternate bins button here gives me the chance to see where else that item is located in inventory. So if we click on that, we see these are the other bins that I have that item in stock. So I could go to the dock bin and pick that. I could go to any of these bins. One of the things it won't let me do is pick from a bin that the item doesn't exist in. So if I scan a bin that item doesn't exist in, instant validation is letting me know that that's an invalid bin to pick this item from. So those are the key components to keeping your inventory integrity intact and using mobile data collection.
All right, Dathan, I really appreciate that. Nice job showing us how to really automate with data collection and mobility. Definitely appreciate you showing that to us today.
Yeah.
So at this time, I would like to go ahead and open up the line for questions. We've had a couple of questions submitted so far, but I'll just remind everyone, if you have any question, whether it's something you saw today or a question along this topic, please submit that, and we'll be happy to answer anything that you have. Again, that question box is in your GoToWebinar pane that you should see on your desktop. So a few questions submitted here. A couple people kind of asked the same question. One was, how long does it take to implement NetSuite? And one was, how much does this cost? So I'll kind of answer both of those with one answer. From how long and how much, Terillium focuses on ERP implementations. With our other two ERP products typically take, let me start with cost. That's the easy one. They cost about 4 times what NetSuite does. So NetSuite's about 25% of the cost of what I think of as traditional ERP systems. So from a software and buying it perspective, it's extremely affordable. And the other thing about NetSuite is, and Steve Mochin touched on this a little bit, the technology is a lot easier to implement. So NetSuite already takes less time to implement, but NetSuite also has a program called Suite Success. And Suite Success really is a combination of different things, but it's best practices pre-configured in the software, along with things like pre-built reports, pre-built dashboards, and roles that a distribution business needs. To the extent that you follow that model, you could implement and be live on NetSuite, including the web storefront video that I showed you, the back office, order management, finance, all the ERP stuff, and the RF-SMART mobile warehouse piece of it, all in 100 days or less, which seems fast to me from historically thinking about how long ERP projects take. But I have seen that work. I've seen it implemented at our customer sites, and that really does work, and it really is successful. Most customers who do that have a phase 2 to do more stuff after they kind of take that walk-run approach to implementing NetSuite. But you can be live, you can get that modern system, a web storefront, data collection, mobility out in the warehouse, all in that time frame. So it's really impressive in terms of the cost and the speed with NetSuite. The next question is, instead of competing against Amazon, will NetSuite let me sell on Amazon? So the answer to that question is yes. And I think that's an interesting kind of byproduct of NetSuite having so many customers, 40,000, is the fact that all the technology companies integrate to NetSuite. And there are multiple different partners out there that integrate NetSuite to Amazon. So there's pre-built integration. You install a little bundle in NetSuite, and it will integrate you right to Amazon. So if you want to sell your products and services on Amazon, if you've been thinking about that and that seems like a daunting thing to you, there is a solution within NetSuite that allows you to do that out of the box. So that's pretty impressive as well. Okay, those are the questions that I saw submitted so far. If you have any, enter them fast. If I don't get to them before I hang up here, we'll be happy to follow up with you. I'd like to thank our presenters, Steve Mochin, Dathan from RF-SMART. Nice job, guys. Appreciate you taking the time. And thank you to all of the people who took time out of your day to watch this webinar. We hope it was worthwhile for you. Thank you, and have a good afternoon.